Hello everybody, this is a Lamley unboxing, brand new Auto World. Now usually I would just show you the boxes, but considering it's just handwriting, this is what happens when you get some early samples to showcase. Sometimes you get the actual box, sometimes you just get a generic box that they handwrite what is inside for you, and that is their internal numbering plus Mix A and Mix B of Premium Release 1. That means 2025. It's nice to get started in 2025. It seemed like Auto World was a little bit convoluted last year. I don't know if that's the right word, but we were getting like little snippets of releases, like 3 cars here, 6 cars there. But this is a standard 6-car or 12-car, however you want to look at it, 6 casting 12-car mix where you get 2 colors of each casting, a Mix A and a Mix B, or a version A, version B. And I am excited to open these up. Stay tuned for the car show. It's going to be fabulous. It's really going to go into a part of one of my favorite collections to have, not just for Auto World, but in general, really getting into the land yacht stuff, which I'm really excited about. And the other thing I'm going to tell you is go down into the description, because I have listed a link for an upcoming Whatnot show that I'm going to do that is all Auto World themed. And some of you are discovering Auto World and you go, oh, there's a bunch of stuff in the past that'd be fun to get. I have to purge my collection. It's too big. I have to cut some things out. I want to have one of each casting at least, and then with each car, I'll figure out how many of each casting I want to keep. But I have a lot that I've purged out that I'm going to put up as a loose Auto World sale. There'll be some chases in there. There'll be some other really cool stuff. So bookmark that. I have a date attached to it. It might adjust because I have a weird schedule, but it's going to be sometime in May, I believe. And you definitely want to be there for that. You'll be able to pick up some Auto Worlds, I think, at a pretty decent price, and they'll be loose and they'll be cool. Anyway, more on that later, but definitely bookmark the show. And if you haven't signed up for Whatnot, do it and you get the $15 credit. You can probably buy a couple with it. All right, let's get to it. Here we start. So version A and version B. This is the 2005 Chevy Silverado SS Custom. We will start with version A. Muscle trucks. Chevrolet never made a single cab SS model of a Cadillac Silverado. I don't need to be reading all of this stuff, right? You can read it when you get to it. But when you find it in stores. This will be in stores very soon. Custom metallic teal. I love this. Teal actually seems to be a theme here. We got a couple of teal cars in this mix. There is the back. I think this is, 2025 release 1. I don't see anything else of real note. This is one of those smaller mixes from last time. True 1/64 scale. This looks like an aftermarket rim. Let's just get to opening these up. It says new casting variations, so I'm trying to think. Single Cat SS model, the Cat. I mean, this is the Cat Eye Silverado. It's been a popular casting. I'm not sure. So I guess custom is the single cab, is what they're talking about, right? So that's that. And we will go ahead and get this on the turntable. I'll put one on the turntable closed hood and one on the turntable open hood. This teal is fabulous. So maybe, I'm not sure if the custom metallic teal, so this would not be a factory color. So it does look like Auto World. They tend to do factory cars for their retail mixes, but this is obviously custom with the custom rims and the custom color. And I would assume this custom single cab Cat Eye, right? I guess is what we're looking at, if I've got that right. But that is a very, very cool model. Got to do some packaging. I can show you, well, I mean, I'm trying to see. Sometimes when I do these videos, there's not a lot of detailing there in terms of like the engine, but we'll do an open engine turntable so you can see it that way. This is custom candy apple red. First release over 2005 Silverado SS with a front end coupled with a custom single cab. Okay, so that's what it is. Didn't say that on version A, but it does say that on version B. Let's go ahead and open this one up. It is not an ultra red. There will be some that will probably think it is. I don't know what the ultra reds look like on this one. Ultra reds, of course, are the Auto World chases, and they do the ultra raw, which a few lucky people have found. Okay, so we're getting a sense of what this is. That's a very, very beautiful candy apple, as I said, candy apple red color with the custom rims. Cat Eye Chevrolet. Auto World, seems to, they've introduced some Japanese makers, Toyota, Mitsubishi. We'll get to some of those here in this mix. But they seem to be, there were other square bodies done. M2's done them, and I think Greenlight has, but they seem to be the king of the square body. And then them rolling out the Cat Eye seems to be their next, kind of big win when it comes to these castings. All right, let's pull these out. Let's go for the next one. We'll just start over here. But those cat eye Chevrolets are really, really cool. All right, let's go classic, kind of what would you call it? Like a modern classic Mustang. This is the 2012 Ford Mustang Boss 302. We've seen it in its more like Laguna Seca colors and those others, but this one has the same trim. 2012 Boss 302 was designed as a modern homage to the original 69 Boss 302. That makes perfect sense. So this is, we'll look at premium version A here. And here it is. We'll do the open version, like I said, or open hood version. I have made it very known. I like this. These are very nice, and there might be a time when I really like them, but I'm more into the classic cars from Auto World. So these, 2012, I don't know, you call it a classic at this point? I don't know. It might be collectible, but yeah, these aren't the ones that these aren't the cars that I get as excited about as, say, others. But here is version B in competition orange, kind of a burnt orange color. I gotta do better at tossing these, holy cow. All right, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much the same thing, same wheels, same deco, just a different color. This time on the turntable you get the open hood, of course, and yeah, there's some detailing in there. There's some decent detailing in that hood. I hope you understand that it is, I'm pretty much an open book when it comes to what models I'm excited about and what models maybe don't generate as much interest. This one probably should, and there's probably a time and a place, but, we'll just keep going. All right. Speaking of models that don't necessarily excite me too much, I can appreciate these, and I would say I would appreciate these the way I appreciate certain Matchbox cars. Like, there's cars on the road that you're not going to give a second thought to when they pass by on the road, but you might appreciate them as castings, and Matchbox does a great job of that. Auto World actually does too. Tony McLaren Vintage is another one that really does that, where they lean into some of these, I don't know, normal cars. I don't know what the right word would be. But this is version A of the 2020 Ford F-150 Black appearance package of this big truck. I've made it very, very clear. Modern trucks are not anything that I get excited about. I would probably really enjoy driving one, but collecting them is not my favorite thing. It's a lot of people do like them. Black appearance package was introduced in 2016 for the F-150. This one is an Oxford white. I do like white vehicles, but I really do try to get excited about models like this, and I just can't. I mean, I can just say, all right, it's a very nice replica, and if I were doing like a Ford dealership diorama, I would definitely want to have a couple of these, but I'm not. I'm doing a video, and I'll just express honestly what I think about them. Very nice casting, very nice model, but I'll be more excited when Auto World does classic stuff. Classic trucks for sure, the square bodies. Even the cat eye, I think, is something that I can get excited about. Maybe it's really just all relative to how old something is compared to today. Velocity blue on this one. That's a better toss. And it's blue. Black rims, of course. That looks nice. This one does have an opening tailgate and an opening hood, as we will note on the turntable. I do like how they do on these modern trucks too. They do paint the bed, which is standard, right? So that's cool. All right, there's that. Put that right there. Let's keep on going. Couple of Mitsubishis. Well, kind of. This is definitely Mitsubishi, the Eclipse. So this is kind of cool. There's, see, I said there was teal. There's another teal. Mitsubishi Eclipse and Eagle Talon, they've been kind of like going back and forth. I think I've got like, I think this was the Eclipse. The first version was black. Then I think that was version A and B. I can't remember which was A and which was B, but they put these custom wheels on it. That was the Mitsubishi. Yeah, it says Mitsubishi there. Then they returned and did the Eagle Talon and put more factory wheels on it. There's some slight differences between the Eagle Talon and the Mitsubishi Eclipse, but they are essentially the same. But they added the aesthetic detailing, put the custom wheels on this version. So that was kind of the alternate. Now we're back to the Mitsubishi Eclipse again. And what's funny is like there's the Talon. Maybe I'll pull out the Talon and compare it to the Eclipse. In fact, let's just do that right now. So here it is. 1991 Eclipse was a part of the Diamond Star Motors family, a joint venture between Mitsubishi and Chrysler, as we can tell between the Eagle Talon. Eagle, that brand is no longer, and this is Marinello Red. I am liking when they put the factory wheels on these more than the custom wheels, but to each their own. So those are custom wheels. These are the factory wheels. And here, I'll just, before we put it on the turntable. So you've got, I mean, black, this black, I mean, maybe that was an aesthetic difference in the Eagle Talon with the black spoiler or that kind of black trim portion on the two-tone car. Everything else is essentially the same. I mean, outside, you know, the grille is a little bit different. The rear portion is a little bit different. But yeah, Mitsubishi Eclipse and the Eagle Talon. Here, we'll put this on the turntable so you can see it. Nice detailing here. You know, it's funny. In the same way, I could say a nice replica of a car that I care less about, but the Mitsubishi Eclipse, it's the choice that I think I like. Ford F-150, you know, doesn't excite me anything, but and maybe that Mustang should too. But this one, like a '90s era Eclipse, and that early generation Eclipse, which, I mean, it definitely speaks the era it came from. But it's not a, I wouldn't call it a very good looking car. I know people will disagree with me, but anyway, I like it. I like it, and I'm really glad they did it. I love this teal one. Tennessee Blue. 19 was the last year of the pop-up headlights before the 1992 facelift. Tennessee Blue was technically not available in the 91 Eclipse, but instead was available on the 91 Plymouth Laser. Interesting. Great color, custom rims. Let's open it. I have leaned into these Mitsubishi cars that they're doing. The Starion, of course, which we'll get to, and the Eclipse. And yeah, this is fabulous. This is the best version so far, just because the color is so cool. These teal colors, like you saw in Hondas back in the day, love it. Love it. Yeah, all for that. All for that Mitsubishi Eclipse. Okay, a couple more. Well, let's just stay with Mitsubishi. Why not? 1 Starion and 2 Starion. This is another one, joint venture between, well, no, this isn't the Starion. This is the Conquest. This is version A of the 1998 Chrysler Conquest TSI, which is, of course, the Starion, but like the Eclipse, it's the same thing. It was a joint venture between Mitsubishi and Chrysler. Starion was first released in this color, right? This would be either A or B with these perfect, look at the way they did the wheels, just so pretty. Fabulous, fabulous model. I love that color. So there was that version. That's either A or B. This would be this would be the other one in black. These were the Starions. And then I think well, they'd had the special, this was the Auto World store exclusive with the Mitsubishi badging on it, which I thought was great. Maybe they did the Chrysler first. Was this the first one? I don't know. But this is a Conquest. I believe that's the Conquest. It says Conquest right in the front, doesn't it? Well, maybe it does. Did they do it? They had the Chrysler. It was definitely not a Dodge. Was it a Plymouth? All right, well, let's just get right to it. So we have the Chrysler Conquest. So yeah, I can't remember now. I'm trying to think if they've, I know they've released it as the Starion. Obviously, this is the Chrysler Conquest. And I don't know if they've released it as a Dodge or a Plymouth yet. And I should probably try and remember that, but that's okay. Version A in bright blue poly. This is great casting. I've been surprised, and maybe it's just kind of like the established Auto World collectors like the more classic stuff and more American stuff, because I've been surprised to see like the Super Celica hang, the Nissan Z, some of these other Japanese cars, because I think they're fabulous. And of all of them, I think the Starion is the best one they've done of the Japanese. I really like the Celica Supra, but really, really dig this model. I just think it's a great choice. It really does have some American, that 80s American vibes that I think are really, really good. And then, of course, it has that Japanese heritage, which I just think is so cool, too. So that's the blue one. Here is the yellow one, San Marino yellow. I'm trying to see. TSI stood for Sport, Turbo Sport Intercooled. I just like, this is the kind of stuff that excites me as a collector. Models like this. It just does. I don't feel like I have to always articulate it, but it really does. That's beautiful. Put on the turntable. That yellow color is fabulous. What a cool, cool model. Black interior, yellow. We'll put that right there. Okay, now we'll finish off with, I think, my favorite of this entire mix, because I said I'm trying to figure out how I collect Auto World, and if I had to, and I'll do a video on my Auto World collection one of these days, and if I had to basically put my favorite element of my Auto World collection, it would be the big ones, the big yachts, the luxury cruisers, whatever you want to call them. I think they have a section called land yachts, and that's what's going to be the car show today. But for those of you who just want to see the unboxing portion of it, let's open up the 1967 Cadillac Eldorado. Casting we've seen before, but these versions are menacing, beautiful, fabulous, just vibe right. 1967 Eldorado was Cadillac's first model with front-wheel drive using the same drivetrain as the Oldsmobile Toronado. This version in black with these black dog dish hubs, oh man, that just gives it quite the look, and I am in love with this one. This is my model of the entire mix. Black with these black hubs. They just, when you get these like big, what almost makes the tires look even more fat than they are, it just is so cool. Red interior. We'll pull out the Eldorados from the collection. In fact, I'm going to pull out all of my big Cadillacs for the car show. And this is so cool, and I just hope you you hear me argue sometimes, like, you don't have to be into these particular cars like I am, and sometimes you don't have to even have a connection to these cars to really, really like them. I grew up with a lot of friends with big Cadillacs, but whose dads had big Cadillacs, but I don't have, I didn't grow up in a family with big Cadillacs, there was a time where I just thought Cadillacs were awful, but what did I know? And now I just have such a love for the super big Cadillacs. Let's look at version B, 1967 Cadillac Eldorado in crystal fire mist poly. Under the hood was of the 67 Eldorado was a big block 429 Ci V8 engine, making 340 horsepower and 480 pounds of torque. I love this car. Look at the hubs on this one too. Same actual design, but they've colored a little bit more of the rims, hubs, whatever, wheels. Love that color too. So my favorite version is black. My favorite model in this entire set is the black one. My second favorite is this one. Interior's fabulous, color's fabulous, matching wheels are fabulous. I love this car. I love the lines on it. I love everything about it. So there you go. You can get a sense, why not toss these? Get a sense of what we're looking at here. We'll put these big trucks over here. We don't want to, they're not my favorite, but I don't want to do any hate on them. I'll put the Mustangs up here too, so we can get everything in the shot. But let's use this parking lot and bring out the big boys. Here come the Cadillacs. All right, here they are, all of them out, all huge Cadillacs. There are essentially three silhouettes, three castings. There's some subtle differences, I think, in year and some of the other details that Auto World will do, but essentially you have the Coupe de Ville and two Eldorados, the 60s, late 60s Eldorado, which is this one, and then of course the 75 Eldorado, which is that one. These are the two that came from the set that we just opened, and there's actually a couple missing. I have misplaced a couple of, I think, the 60s Eldorado, maybe it was the 75 Eldorado, along with a couple of my Lincoln Continentals, which is really freaking me out. I'll have to go buy them if I can't find them again. They are somewhere, I think, but these plus the Lincoln Continental and then the big wagons that they do, this would be the bulk of my Auto World collection if I had to really cut it down just to a few castings. Thankfully, I don't have to do that, because between the Silverados and the Japanese cars and some of the other things, there's some really, really good stuff. I'm not going to put everything on the turntable here. If you ever want to see them, you can just holler at me and I'd be happy to give you, but I'm going to give you some close-ups. Let's just start. We already did the turntable shots of the 67 Eldorado, but I will give you kind of a look. I think I've got these in the order, maybe starting with this teal. This might have been, I can't remember exactly the order of the release here, but we've already seen the black ones, but you've got these kind of interesting dog dish versions, but they have these others more you know, when you think of Cadillacs, these kind of really kind of ornate hubs. So I'll just put this blue one on the turntable for you, just so you can get a sense of other elements of this casting. They've done the two-tone on these. In fact, you know what? After I show this blue one, maybe I will do one of the two-tone, you know, or like the vinyl top. I shouldn't say two-tone, like a vinyl top. In fact, we'll just go, why not this teal color? Since we're doing the teal theme, you can see this one has the white wall tires, the teal color, and of course they've done, the way they do kind of a matte black really does give it a vinyl vibe up top. I really do like those vinyl top Cadillacs, and this thing is super, super cool. Maybe that's the one I should have picked out to start. So that is, and then I can, you know, and then you can just kind of walk through the Cadillac Eldorado, the 67. And one thing I love, and this is something that I think is interesting, if you were just one who are like, okay, I just want, and I would mention this with Tomica Limited Vintage too, maybe even other premium brands like Mini GT, but you can say, you know, I would love to have one or two of these castings, and Auto World allows you that, because what they do, there's some hobby exclusives with some of these castings, maybe not the big Cadillacs. I think there's only one that I know of, and it's mine. We'll get to that. But they tend to do mostly factory colors or custom colors, but they'll be styled like road cars, right? And so you could pick a couple colors that you really like, go to eBay, go to your favorite hobby dealer, like J-Car Diecast or something, and you can snag what you want. Or definitely go, we won't get these, of course, but you go to my Whatnot show too. And get some others from these other cars. But see, that's what I think is kind of cool about this. So, you know, it might not be like a thunderous event when Auto World, it is when they pick new castings to do, but maybe not when they pick a new color. You just have to go and, oh man, I really like that combination between those wheels and those white wall tires and this trim and everything else, and you'll like it. You can have a couple. Or you can do, in this case, like for me with these Cadillacs, you can get every single one of them. Outside of the chases, don't do much for me. I like the realistic ones, and you can put these together almost like a car dealership, and you can't help, I already showed you this one, you can't help but smile at these, at having them all together and seeing all these factory colors. It's just fabulous. All right, so that's like the 67 Eldorado. There might be 68, I don't know, in the trim here. And then, of course, there's the 75 Eldorado. And again, I don't know if I have these totally in order, but I'll go ahead and put this one on the turntable. This one has a vinyl top as well, and I love this color, this kind of light baby blue with the white interior, with this kind of metallic-looking steering wheel, and then, of course, the white vinyl top. This, to me, screams Cadillac in every sense of the word, at least classic Cadillac, as I, you know, 1975... I wasn't thinking about Cadillac. Super, super cool. And I just love the color combination of the Cadillac. The fact that this is a two-door Cadillac. I think all of these are two-door Cadillacs. You just don't see cars this long with two doors anymore. It's just so rad. It's like 97 doors on a Ford Expedition. But I love these. Here's another one. This is the other color, I believe. You get the red dashboard with this one, white interior, and then a vinyl top as well, matching the hubs and everything else. Just this is the kind of stuff, you know, it's funny, I have niches in my collection, and you know, racing cars with Mini GT, that's a video coming up. Hot Wheels is probably the most wide, you know, wide element of, you know, like I collect the widest amount of cars, WIDEST, the widest spectrum of cars, I think, from Hot Wheels. But, you know, I do like these niches within these brands that I collect, and the big cars. Okay, so here's Lowrider that Auto World did. I think this was with Miho exclusives, if I remember correctly. So they took the same casting, so you don't get the low stance, but you do get the smaller rims, and of course some cool trim that screams Lowrider. I think, you know, Greenlight's done some good Lowriders, but these are nice. And I do love Lowriders too, but obviously the gap on those, it'd be nice if they modified a chassis to have it sit just slightly lower, but they still look fabulous with that trim. And then it went back again. I might be missing a couple, but vinyl top, I think all of them have vinyl top, right? And trim on the hood. I don't know exactly what these colors are, but they're just so great. And then, you know, sometimes they'll match the interior with the body of the car. And I think of these of the three Cadillac castings, I would say the 75 Eldorado is my favorite. And if you've followed Lamley for a long time, you know that I worked with J-Car and Auto World to create this exclusive in white with the Lamley logo on it. If you look closely, it's there in a somewhat luxury themed little motif, and you get that cool color. And then of course something that Chad at Auto World did, he gave this, I gotta try and keep it open here, but he gave it a gold engine. How rad is that? Called it Big John. I mean, come on. Come on. How fabulous is that? All right. Last one is the Coupe de Ville. This is, when I think of big Cadillacs, I think of the Coupe de Ville. And this is one of the oldest Auto World castings since the brand was introduced, what, 10 plus years ago. And I think they called this Land Yacht. So same thing, you get the vinyl top, like the back portion, you get the big long doors. This is one of the longest castings I think they've done. Maybe the wagons or the trucks will be, some of those modern pickups might be a little bit longer, but this is so great. So you get this cream white. I might as well just, well, no, I've already showed it. Let me put a different one on the turntable. Which one should I put on the turntable? We might as well just put this black one. I hate to lean in too much into this. I mean, but come on, Goodfellas. You know, it just, if that's your vibe too, I mean, you can't go wrong with these Cadillacs. You just can't go wrong. Just so cool. Yacht Club. Great license plate on those. And then you start going, this is actually an ultra red. Like I said, I don't collect the ultra reds, but I liked this one because it just looks like a standard car. You know, it's just a different color. So I like that ultra red. And then they get in, just like with all the Cadillacs, they get into some very interesting colors. One of these, this one has the white vinyl top. One of these, and I believe it might be these two, either one or both are Toys R Us exclusives. So they were out when Toys R Us was still here in the US. And I think it might be this one. I could be wrong. But the blue with the blue vinyl top, and then the gray with the gray vinyl top. With the white wall tires. So that one is super cool. And then you go back into these, you know, different shades of blue. White vinyl top, blue interior. I mean, come on. I literally, this could be an audience of one, just me. It's just sometimes fun to pull out your collection and just go through it and just go, oh yeah, yep. So happy to have these. Yeah, from here until the day I croak, Auto World puts out a big Cadillac, it will go into the permanent collection. Love the white. This is actually a factory trim, and I can't remember what it was called, but that black version I just showed in this white one was a factory trim that Cadillac put out. Lowrider, when they did the Lowrider series with Miho exclusives. Love the trim on that one with the gold rims, and then they did a second version. I really like the rims there. And then the last two, this green color, which I can't stand it, but I love it. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense. Put anything on a big Cadillac, I'm happy. I'm happy. It would be, I would do like an epic 24-hour tour of my collection once I have it totally honed. And it would be so fun to like go from like GT3 race cars and IMSA race cars that Mini GT does, to the Hot Wheels Drag Strip Demons funny cars, to these Cadillacs, to like, you know, some of the Hot Wheels car culture stuff, like the super, like the AMG, like luxury stuff, to the cool Porsches. It would just be so fun to like go from like one end to the other, to the other, to the other on this car collection. And that is the joy of collecting 164. That is why I keep doing this channel and stuff, is because you can lean into stuff like this. I absolutely love it. You guys tell me what you think. Auto World's a great brand. Hopefully you'll join me on Whatnot when I send some of these to what I hope will be happy homes. Not these, but some of the other ones. And but I hope you enjoyed these this new mix, which is coming out very, very soon. Get your hands on that one. Thanks, everybody. Bye.